welcome to Our Voices. I'm Palestine Imani, your guest host for this week. My co-hosts for today are Ariana Tingashaka and Samani Shikoye. In Africa, competitive sports have always been viewed as a primarily for males, and it usually takes extra effort to motivate more female players to participate in sports. Female players often face more challenges, including lack of opportunities, family opposition, and societies that hold biased views about women playing sports. Also, there is a fight by women athletes to earn equal pay to their male counterparts. As the World Cup continues in Qatar, let us take a moment to examine the participation of African women in different sports, including soccer. On this week's Our Voices, we are looking at examples of women who are excellent in sports. We are also exploring the questions: what unique challenges do African women in sports face, and how are they overcoming them? Ladies, what comes to your mind when you hear women involvement in sports?
Women in sport. When I think about women in sport, really, Palestine, I think about the word freedom. Freedom to be able to express your gifts, the gifts that God has given you. And so when I see women, and especially young women, are able to participate in sport, I see the expression of their gifts, the expression of their talents, the expression of their skills, their capacity. So all in all, it's freedom to be able to express that.
Mm-hmm. For me, what comes in mind is power. You know, whenever I see a woman in doing what's considered to be a man's job, or whenever I see her being in a space that's always considered to be a man's space, I see her empowerment, her resilience, her confidence, especially in African context. I know this doesn't come easy, so I really see her empowerment.
I admire the resilience of these women, enduring all these pressures, from the family to society to the field.
Yes, there is so much to overcome to be able to, alter what is considered to be the status quo. So
that's right. Yeah. Sometimes it comes with a price.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, but it's always great. Well, men's boxing in Tanzania has had its fair share of success, with boxers such as Hassan Mwakinyo and others making their mark on the international scene. The sport, however, is not popular among women in the country. The number of female boxers is low, as they face many challenges, including financial pressure and misconception from the public. But some of them decided not to stop and are aiming to inspire and empower future generation of female fighters. Charles Nkombe reports from Dar es Salaam.
3 years ago, 22-year-old Jessica Mfinanga joined the boxing world. She won the 4 fights she participated in Tanzania, and lost 1 in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates. Jessica's dream is to become a world-class boxer, but the stereotypes in society challenges her dreams.
When I share video clips on social media, some people appreciate what I'm doing. Others are not happy, and they still have bad beliefs. You find someone telling me that you're a female, you can't do this, you might be infertile in the future. Their comments give me a hard time because I believe that they will be the ones to support me.
Sports in Tanzania has traditionally been a male domain. Now, many believe that there is hope, especially looking at how far the sports sector has come.
After sports started to change and become an opportunity, even we Africans started to change. Now it has led many people to start encouraging and giving women a chance to participate in various sports. And that's why I started to support women boxers after learning about boxing from different countries. Among them is Pendo Njau, who came to win African champion and is now an international boxing referee.
Some legendary women boxers wish to see many more women join boxing and compete at international levels.
When
you look, currently it's only me who is doing good in boxing, though there are other upcoming referees. I'm praying to God that I see many of them and be proud they can do better.
Investment and education on female sports in Tanzania are still a challenge. Sports analysts say more needs to be done to empower more women in sports.
Females have been forgotten for so long, and when we look at what should be done to empower more women in sports, we need to look into different angles. You must look at the government, Ministry of Sports, and what are they doing on the issue. And also, has society accepted women can join sports?
In the meantime, Mfinanga continues to train every day to fulfill her dream of becoming a professional boxer. To get there, she must first overcome the obstacles that are present in the boxing sport. Charles Kombe for VOA News in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania.
Thank you so much, Charles Kombe, for that report. Really, boxing is one of the challenging sports to join for women. And predominant culture and religion still tend to work against female participation in sports. However, in many places like Somalia, Muslim women are making tangible progress on the field with their hijabs and long-sleeve uniforms. Suad Gallo is a former basketball player on Somali national team. Now retired, she's helping other females to compete in local and international games. Gallo lives in the United States and works in Somalia with local basketball clubs. She's a chair of the Somali Women's Foundation, which encourages and trains young girls that have the ambition to play sports, particularly basketball. Ms. Gallo, welcome to Our Voices.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Voices of America. I'm greeting from Somalia, Garowe City in Puntland State of Somalia. Yes, as you said a few minutes ago, women in sports is a challenge. Not Africa plus Muslim basketball players, so it's any kind of sports. Mm-hmm. The challenge is, it's a lot of challenge, but the three challenges we are facing is cultural challenge, religion challenge, and peace, a challenge. As you know, Somalia, the last 30 years, they don't have a strong government. When I was playing Somali national team, we do have a government, we have a system, we have coaches, we have fans to support us. But when we lost that privilege, our younger generation is who has a hope, who love to play sports, doesn't have that opportunity. Mm-hmm. To maybe help my community and
maybe can you help us compare and contrast maybe your era on the field to what is going on now? Has anything changed over the years?
It changed a lot. It's, the government is very weak compared to where I grew up. Basketball in Somalia was the second popular sports in Somalia. But since 1991, as a women in sports and women education was destroyed for extremely religious. So I came back to Somalia in 2009 and I realized everything I had experienced and I grew up as a young girl from Somali national team has been destroyed. That's the first reason I came back to Somalia. I know it's a lot of challenge and a lot of dangerous place, but it's always success behind it. So we have to face that challenge to overcome a success story for our younger generations, because they have the dream and the hope I had and I grew up as a young girl. As you see, doing trainers, I changed myself and my teammates for the uniform, because when we were playing, the uniform was different. We were wearing a shorts and sleeveless shirt and our hair was open. But religious in purpose, as I respect it, we have to change the clothing they are wearing because of their safety for the parents and the youth girls, which is different from the boys.
Yeah, you talk about Saad, the insecurity. How that impact women basketball players in Somalia?
It's really impact a big time, because every day when you are in Mogadishu and 17 different districts, and you have to go tonight in Shibist, when you live in your home, those young girls doesn't know that if they're going back home safe. At the same time, they cannot go back to that district that the next day we have to go another district.
And Ms. Odd,
So that's
yes, and you mentioned about going back and trying to really keep the children busy, away from trouble, away from other things. Who are your supporters? Are you getting support from the parents or maybe some government programs? Who really supports your work in order to keep it going so that you can maneuver through the challenges of culture and religion, as you've mentioned?
Thank you very much. That's a very good question. From the beginning, when I came back to Somalia 2016, and we did the first interstate tournament for women basketball, USAID funding, thank you. It was a challenge for the parent because the last 30 years, the younger parent or heard and listened to women in sports is forbidden. It's shame, it's taboo for Somalia. So the challenge I was expecting was the extremist solutions. But the first challenge I have been dealing the last 7 years was the parent to explain what is the benefit for sports for girls. What is the benefit? And thank God, we did a lot of workshop, local government, a parent, and moderate sheikhs. And it looks like they are accepting right now because a lot of parents now, they're receiving their young girls are behaving better, are tired. We're building physically and mentally. They understand better and they go into school because we're telling that if you don't go to school, you don't understand the concept or the principle of sports. It's most important thing to go to school, to play sports and a kind of sports. And we just started basketball and football as you see.
When they see them achieving, when they see their girls playing in any kind of sport, how do parents feel? How does the community react?
The reality is when I communicate the parent and I tell them I'm a woman, I used to play basketball. My daughter is playing a college in America. What's wrong with that? I can coach. They feel comfortable women coach, women referee, and women administration because the culture they have received and the religions they have received the last 30 years. So they are very comfortable. That's why I started a program called Train the Trainers, train women coaches, more women coaches. So girls have opportunity to have women coaches and still male coaches. So the parent and the local government to relieve that barrier and they having a girl training a male, it's not our religious, it's not our culture. So I started a program called Train the Trainers for women coaches.
Mrs. Gallo, thank you so much. We're going to stay with us as we take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to hear from women who are also participating in sports. Stay with us.
Welcome back. You are watching Our Voices. This week we are discussing African women in sports, their challenges and their successes. Here are the views of a group of women in Nigeria about women in sports.
Well, on my opinion, I really think girls nowadays are playing a really big role in sports because they are participating a lot in sport activities. And another thing that girls have learned to make money in sports, not only to be fit for their health, but also they learn to make money. Some of the girls in cricket last time they won an award. And I really think it's a really great experience and it's a really great thing because in the past years, girls were weren't expected or weren't appreciated to be in sport. Because here, for example, here in Africa, if you were a girl and you were going to play a football match or football game, you were regarded or you were treated like a guy, and everybody could say that, how come you're a girl and you want to be in sport?
As I see things in Rwanda, sport has accelerated, it has developed since 10 plus years. When you compare sport of past 10 years and now, you see that there is a great difference, which is good because people are accepting girls in sport. They're like giving them a platform to show their talents, what they're able to show. There are some people who understood that girls can be in sports, can do sports, but there are some people who are not yet educated about sport activities. They do not know that a Rwandan girl can engage in sports.
When you look in society, people don't appreciate women in sports as they do from men, and this is a challenge. But the good thing is that the government doesn't discriminate them, whether in sports programs or infrastructure. Everything is really inclusive.
To me, I think the biggest challenge is that girls and women have self-esteem and they don't consider sports as female occupation or as a career they should eagerly embrace. But there is a hope that this will change.
That's awesome. Well, we continue this conversation about women's participation in sport, and we are with Mrs. Soad Gallo. Mrs. Soad, we are just hearing from young women that was Rwanda, and the young women are expressing themselves about the participation of women in sport. And one of the young ladies mentioned about there being the lack of education. Do you think, for instance, for us as reporters or the news, the media is doing a great job, or maybe there should be some improvement in how we cover women in sport, and maybe that can help, for instance, in your work to be able to educate people the importance and the benefits of women in sports?
Absolutely. That's the issue. We always talk about it. We don't have enough opportunity as a women in sports to have the media to follow us, to realize what we are doing, or where we are, they don't notice, and we see that more they're focusing for male sports, but we asking and begging them for the media to express their feelings, women in sports Africa or women in sports in the world, because everywhere you go, it doesn't matter what religion or what culture you are, we are behind as a women in sports. We are really behind, and the only we are behind, a lot of women are working hard in Africa, in Europe, all over the place, but they don't have enough media to tell our story and our voice, especially the younger generation who doesn't have a voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as you said, a lot of young, courageous women, young girls are joining sports, and media seems to be lagging behind. How is it affecting, as you said, opportunities is one of the challenges, and also financially, how is it affecting the careers of these young girls?
It's affecting a lot because when you don't have education background and you're not sports, there's no opportunity for them. And even when I come back to Somalia, I have one good references. When I come back to Somalia, and I have the first project in women in sports is interstate tournament in Somalia, the 5 states, and then the capital city of Mogadishu. Every male or abroad, women cannot do anything. Why are you spending this money? Let's do the tournament for female basketball. And still doing the women basketball, because at that time there's no teams. But that's my responsibility to develop from grassroots to come back women in sports. And my mission and my initiative was women in sports for grassroots. So that challenge, they cannot even allow women to have opportunity. Even when I'm bringing a project for women in sports or women education, I'm trying to build a school academy for girls leadership academy and sports excellence. So everybody's guiding me. Why are you doing that? All 60-70% male or younger male doesn't have that opportunity, and you're giving the girls. So that's the challenge, and there's no opportunity so far in a lot of countries, not only Somalia. but a lot of countries.
Yeah, and Suad, in sports, advertisement and sponsors is one of the things that encourage the games and the players. How do you get these things for women players?
None so ever. And the reason why, I spoke to a couple of sponsors, and the sponsors are looking for who is coming to the TV, who's coming to the radio, who's coming to the big magazines. The women's sports are not in the media. They are not in the social media. So how are they going to advertise with that? I have a lot of, I send a lot of emails, Nike, I send a lot of emails, Adidas, and a lot of other small sports companies, and they never respond because they don't know who we are.
That's unfortunate. Suad, you talked about war, and I have been through that, and growing up sometimes war was something that you just had to deal with without even going through the emotional and the psychological help. Could you tell us a little bit more of the benefits of these young women being in sport in an environment where security is really an issue constantly? Just give us some of the benefits that are in some of your programs.
Thank you for asking me that question. Since we're coming back, myself and my older generation is for the legends who helps me in my project, and they are part of it. We are trying to explain the girls. For example, the first example I wanted to give it to you is when we were doing the interstate tournament in 2016, December 20th, and we have the 5 states and the Mogadishu city in Garowe, and we built a basketball court to bring all the girls in Somalia who loves to play sports to unity so they can be advocated for us. Sports is the right thing to do. So when we are opening the tournament at 12 o'clock, it's a Friday, all the sheikhs in Somalia, they starting that project is wrong. That project is not going to happen. And the donors been calling me, and we have 3 hours to open the tournament. And I have to travel to the teams, the girls, the young girls who comes from Southwest, who came from Mogadishu City, Jubaland, Galmudug, Hirshabelle, and Puntland. I have to visit each of them with their delegations and deliver the news. Are we going to play? How do you feel about that? And every girl was telling me, if we don't play today, we are not going to play tomorrow. Let's die so the other people, we can save them.
Wow, that's really interesting and powerful.
And then we did it, finally.
Yeah, that's all the time we have for this conversation. Thank you, Suad Gallo, for joining us. Suad is the head of Somali Women's Foundation. We want to remind you to visit our social media platforms and share some of the topics you would like for us to cover on our voices. We are on Facebook at VOA Africa, Instagram, Twitter at VOA Our Voices. We are also on WhatsApp. Our number is country code +1 202 503 9025. When we return, we will have our Women to Watch segment.
From around the world. Let's go.
Welcome back. You are watching Our Voices, and we are discussing African women in sports, their challenges and their successes. Salima Mukansanga, one of the 3 female referees who are officiating at the World Cup for the first time. She says they have been chosen for the tournament in the Qatar not simply based on their gender, but because they deserve the chance. Let's take a look.
Salim Mukansanka, one of the 3 female referees who will officiate at a Men's World Cup for the first time, said they have been chosen for the tournament in Qatar not simply based on their gender, but because they deserve the chance. Mukansanka stated how happy she is to be serving this World Cup.
We are here because we deserve to be here. So back our confederation or back at home, this is the other level. So this is the biggest level of football. So being here, it means we deserve to be here. It's not a chance, it's not because we are women. We have been working hard to be here and we deserve to be here, so that we're going to work hard and then to show the world that we deserve to be here and we want to win.
Female referees at the World Cup will not face restrictions based on cultural or religious grounds in matches involving conservative nations such as Iran, Saudi Arabia, or Qatar, according to referees chief Pierluigi Collina.
Well, a lot of girls are joining the sports, but I mean, there is still a lot of discrimination. There is a lot to be done. And if they are given the chance, we see that girls can really climb up, right?
I'm so happy to see Mukansanga, a woman from my region, representing in the World Cup.
Also, we have, athletes, women athletes who accomplished a lot from Kenya, from Ethiopia. And as I said, if they are given a chance, women can excel in any sport field.
So next World Cup, maybe we will see more female participation.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that's it for this week. On behalf of our Voices colleagues and everyone here at Voice of America, I'm Palestine Iman. Thanks for watching.